Hello, my name is Frances Fox, and I'm a trained government remote viewer. All my psychic skills have been trained, supervised, statistically analyzed, and used for research and for also other things, unfortunately. As a mind control victim, I've spent 30 years trying to heal from what was done to me in this program, which brings me the skills that I bring to the table today, which just goes to prove that everything that happens is for a reason. And even when bad things happen, it's for a very, very good reason. So I'm a happy camper. I'm a happy camper because I spoke to the dolphins about all of those drones, spaceships, and the answers that they gave me make so much sense that rather than biting your nails, you just end up laughing and going, that makes sense. You know that I've been going on and on about Jesus Christ and Christianity and the Catholic Church and Christians, and how Jesus Christ has been used as a marketing tool, and that the essence of Jesus has been basically trashed. And that the people, too many people, I am not saying all of them absolutely at all, but too many people have used Jesus Christ to present a case for an entire religion, Catholicism, and for different groups. Um, and the interesting thing is that they have to, from my observations, they have to rely on the Bible, which is rather long, written 300 years after Christ died. I can't remember what I said yesterday, much less 300 years later. And I think that the reason that they had to come up with all this documentation is because Christ's message is so simple. It is so simple. And that is the same issue with the alien issue. It's just so simple. And it gets complicated and then it gets trashed. So I have not finished my conversations with the aliens. In this particular case, a group of aliens called dolphins. Off planet, they're aliens. When they come into the planet, they come into dolphin bodies or they come into human bodies. I'm dolphin consciousness. Elon Musk is dolphin consciousness. 30% of the planet are dolphin consciousness poured into human bodies. And then you have all the dolphins in the oceans that have dolphin consciousness poured into dolphin like bodies. The Greeks considered that dolphins were gods, and they are gods. But basically, everything that's off planet to planet Earth is as if they were gods because they have so much more power than we do because we haven't accessed our superpowers, which is available to us. So I'm going to take a minute to breathe, and then I'm going to read you what the dolphins gave me today. And all of this has to do with what's going on in terms of the drones or the spaceships that are over the United States and now being seen in other places. So here we go. This is what the dolphins have to say. Now, as a background, there is a book that I did not read completely because I have programmings to where I can't remember people's names. And this particular book has too many names in it, and it creates too many holes in the information when I personally read it. I suggest you look at it. And the name of the book is called The Gods of Eden. But it's not the only book where they discuss this that I'm going to read from you from the dolphins. So here we go. This is today, probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when I reached out to my guides, which you would consider are dolphins, but they're aliens. Hold on. Okay, this is when I'm writing up the protocols for our planetary integration with the galactic. So these are exact words from the dolphins. The issue of sentient beings living outside of planet Earth has been established centuries ago. but the invisible forces of some of these beings, plus governmental agencies, has not allowed the general population to believe in their existence. Just as Nazi Germany benefited from relating and working with off planet beings, so the general population can benefit from working with them. Every time a human has an issue, there are groups of beings/aliens that are ready and willing to help. You can call them spirit guides, which is what I call the dolphins, when in reality, they are alien beings that want to help by contributing accurate information or extra information so you can accomplish your tasks more easily. And then they say that they can work with the Mantrista movement, which is basically the people that follow me, to establish protocols for working more efficiently with these off-planet beings. And I'm going to continue this conversation tomorrow. But let me continue to read what they gave me today. The beings/aliens that command the spaceships and drones are also here to help, competing with aliens that do not have good intentions. It's almost like life between humans on the planet. Some bad guys, some good guys, some guys that couldn't care less. The entire spectrum of well-intentioned or ill-intentioned beings/aliens/humans. The issue/concept of God being up there is in reality a way of saying God is from off planet. Angels are from off planet. The devil is from off planet. Understand? You got it? So here we get into the whole issue of religion. What have our religions done to us? That book, The Gods of Eden. What have our religions done to us? Or the beings that are in charge of religions? I'm not going to get into a lot of details because I honestly don't have those details. But I believe the basic concept of this book, The Gods of Eden, is basically what the dolphins are saying. The people that we have made so important, and we've formed religions around them and venerated them as gods, are aliens that have more powers than we do. But it doesn't mean that there are gods or that we should follow them. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't follow them. It just means that we are already used to dealing with off-planet beings, but very much in a standoff, formal type way. They're up here, they give messages, or people say that they say this, they say that, like I just said with the dolphins, and then we're supposed to follow. Well, no, you're not really supposed to do anything that goes against your grain, which is an awful lot of the information certain religions give us that take away natural tendencies that humans have and try to make humans walk an extremely straight path to where basically you have to turn into a pretzel to be a good follower of that religion, such as when the Protestantism and they, oh, I don't remember the movement, and everybody had to just simply put their head down and just work. Martin Luther, I believe it was. And what they did with Jesus Christ, his message is very simple. He's a shaman. Contact with nature, love for everybody, contact with nature. Important things happening inside caves, which is the earth element. Using water to purify before you go out to do something important, which is what Jesus did with the baptism before he started his ministry. So I don't have any more conclusions than this at this point because I just did this at 1:00 in the afternoon. But basically, I've been smiling ever since. If the devil is not from this planet, and it's true, the devil is not from this planet, and I think almost a lot of people that work or understand the devil energy know that, and we believe that if they're from Orion. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're from some other place, but they're not from this planet. And then you have that makes the devil aliens. And of course, we don't know how to handle the devil. Actually, we do. The devil lives on fire. That's their food. You reduce the fire, and the devil can't function. Cannabis reduces fire. Cannabis is a female herb that reduces fire. That's why cannabis is so effective in so many things. It kind of blocks the devil from coming into you, your body, your organs, etc. Okay, so the devil is not from this planet. Angels are from up there. Up there where? Not from this planet. We love them. Supposedly they're from Venus. I don't know that 100% for sure, but we kind of know if you press somebody that no, they're not from this planet. They're not from underneath, from any civilization under the ground. They're not hiding in mountains. They're from up there, which is off planet, which makes them galactic. So we got the devil that's galactic. We got the angels that are galactic. And then we have the whole issue of Jesus Christ, the whole talking about it is a little bit treacherous because people can go at you. But you know what? The truth is what's going to be left standing with everything that's going on. So we have Jesus Christ that was born from a mother where there was no sex. Okay, well, you really can't do that on planet Earth, but if you're from off planet, you can do a lot of things. So was Jesus an alien? Perhaps. I'm not exactly sure that it's really important to establish whether he was or he wasn't an alien. The important thing to establish is that everything is not lost. This whole thing of the fear, the aliens are coming, they're invading, they've always been here. Not so many of them, but yes, some that are terrible. When you have a child or a person who's bipolar, he's invaded by an alien. You can't be bipolar unless you've been invaded by an alien spirit. You can't be. If you have issues of incredibly sick sexual perversions, that is due to alien spirit influence off planet. When you order black magic, really ugly, ugly, ugly stuff, the person that does the ritual petitions off planet beings. So this whole thing with aliens being here and now, oh my God, they're going to take over. They've actually taken over the minds of many of our children. But we're not going to get into that right now. It's not such a novel concept. Now, the volume is another story. But if we can wrap our heads around the fact that there are good aliens and bad aliens, and that we can align with the good ones, and that if what the dolphins say is accurate, and I trust them because I've been watching what they've been telling me for decades, then that means that we can take care of ourselves. I've always said that if you got a problem, the most important thing is a good diagnosis. What is going on? Which is what today most people cannot give you, because today modern people are not allowed to put into their professionalism the other dimensional stuff. So like if you're an alcoholic and you want to stop drinking, the part of you that is not letting you stop drinking is actually a spirit that may or may not be from off planet. So not being able to talk about spirits, what they do in the 12-step movement, 10-step, 12-step movement is they talk about turning yourself over to God, which is what that book, The Gods of Eden, are. What certain of those aliens want is for humans to turn themselves over to them, because they're going to take care of the humans because they have so much more power. No, I don't think we should do that. I don't think we should do that. I'm not saying we throw out every single religion, because that's not true. As an example, Hinduism, and I don't know a lot about Hinduism, but from what I can see in the very thick books that I have from them, they emphasize integrating into your daily life and every routine, food, everything, their knowledge about the chakra system and what's good for you energetically, having nothing to do with God and having nothing to do with you obeying. So all is not lost. Obviously, something huge is going on, probably having to do with governments trying to figure out how to get a grip on us, probably due to governments wanting us to be frightened. And when we're frightened, we turn over our power, which is the whole point of the book, The Gods of Eden. Turning over your power to somebody that appears to be so much more than you, or to the government that's going to stand between you and that, which would just be kind of a continuation of people declaring themselves priests and pastors and coming in between you and your God, that basically is an alien and that you can get to directly. So I am a happy camper. This is going to be easier than I thought to present a complete protocol for people to follow to deal with this that is obviously happening in a very, very big way. And within days, it would appear. Remember that I said that I had said in November that something big was going to happen on the 23rd of December. And then I was told by the mantristas, the followers of the movement, that a lot of people were saying that, a lot of psychics were saying that something huge was going to happen in December. And one psychic said that there would be no Christmas. So something might happen before Christmas. I had said that something on the 23rd, that there would be revelations. And I have told you that the government has an interesting tactic of delivering information to the public right before holidays, or like Friday afternoon before weekend. So people are shocked by what they just read, what they just saw, and then they go home and they have to get ready for the weekend or for the holidays. So the 23rd of December is perfect if there's going to be some kind of big declaration, because the 24th of December, we already have Christmas. So the future's elastic and plastic. So nothing may happen on the 23rd. It could happen on the 22nd. It could happen on the 3rd. I have no idea. I give information as I get it. And I always say future's elastic and plastic. Prophecy, saying something in advance, is to tell you where we're going unless we get off of that path. So at this point, it appears to me that the path is on the 23rd, either big revelations from ETs or big revelations from the government. I have no idea. But if we follow the protocol, which starts with the purification mantra, even though I'm afraid, we will get a grip on our reaction to whatever the revelations are, whatever god-awful thing happens or shocking thing happens, or simply everybody that goes crazy because now the world has completely collapsed, the paradigm has collapsed, they don't know what to hold on to, they don't know what's going to happen. What you have to do is you have to take care of yourself and your family and ensure that your instrument for creation, which is your mind, which you own, it's a bit beaten up, but you own it. It's your instrument, that you keep it as clear as possible so that you can create the reality that you want. One of the things I'm saying is we have to start working on the prosperity issue, because when all of this happens, maybe there'll be a big shakeup having to do with business, with everybody so insecure, not sure if they should go to work. I have no idea. So you have to work on your intentions having to do with prosperity. Make sure that they're very anchored and that you have reduced your reactive fear. The fact that you're afraid doesn't mean something bad happened or is going to happen. It has to do with you thinking that something bad is going to happen. And that may be the whole point about what's going on, to frighten people. Whether it's the government that's doing it or whether it's the ETs that are doing it, it doesn't really matter. If everybody becomes very frightened, they become very manageable, and together there's a shakeup in society, at which time our world gets shaken up. Do we go to work the next day? Of course, you go to work the next day, unless you have specific information that would make it appear dangerous for you to go to work. But again, the point is to keep yourself as clear as possible. And for that, Even in the Bible, it says it almost 300 times. You have to take care of the fear. You have to deal with the fear. You don't take the fear and put it away. Okay? You embrace the fear so that your soul, your mind doesn't fragment. When you are very, very frightened, let's say you're in an automobile accident and the accident is over, you're alive, but you've been shaken up by the actual physical accident and shaken up by what could have happened or did happen to the others that were with you. So they pull you out of the car and you're standing there and you're completely out of it. That's because your spirit body has separated, your astral spirit body, because of the fear. And then at that point, nobody expects you to be making any great decisions. They just kind of, sit you down on the curb. They put a blanket over you, warm you up, and then it'll take you a few minutes. And generally, you kind of come back. Sometimes people never completely align with their spirit after a major shocking happening, an accident. Somebody that I worked with that fell off a horse. Her bodies never got back together again. She ended up not being well for 20 years until I got to her, and then I told her what was going on, and she reintegrated. Um, a client of mine that was in an Autobahn in Europe, and her car spun out of control several times in a circle. It was just spinning, spinning, and then nobody got hurt. But she was not the same after that. And when she came to see me, she said, I don't know what's going on. And it was her energy bodies that were thrown out of alignment. So I recommended the cranial sacral therapy. Everything came back into alignment, and then she felt like herself again. That can happen with a shock, like a client that I had that was completely out of it. And she was intelligent, but her reactions were slow. And it was like, and everybody was, come on, Francis, please, we've taken her to doctors. There's nothing the matter. What's going on? It was fascinating reading. And I said, did she lose somebody recently? And she had lost, I don't remember if it was a husband or a son. So, but a lot of people lose people. We all do at some point. Her symptoms seem to be beyond that. So, what I read was that she had been kind of standing by a window when she got the phone call that this loved one, son or husband, had been in an accident a couple of blocks away. It had been right when he left his home. And she was standing there with the phone in her hand, and her head and body just jerked in the direction of where she had been told over the phone that the accident had been that had killed this loved person. So actually, her physical body stayed in position, but her spirit body shifted position, pointing in that direction, and it never enfolded back again. So here's her physical body, and her spirit body is at an angle, and it never came back. I don't actually know what happened to her. I did tell them what I saw, and I did say that would get taken care of by cranial sacral therapy, which is a very gentle therapy where it looks like they don't do anything. They're just kind of like standing there, and you're like, what happened? What am I paying for? But after a couple of sessions, if you need it, after 2 or 3 sessions, you're like yourself again. If you need it, this is not everybody needs it, but definitely after birth, every baby should have it because that's very traumatic, the birthing process, and the bodies can get separated, accidents, falling down the stairs, huge trauma. It would be good to get 2 or 3 sessions of cranial sacral to make sure that you're all collected back, your whole system, your assemblage of bodies are all back in place, pointed in the correct direction. So this, whatever it is that's going on, which appears to be, at some point there will be an event, even if it's just a government declaration, you need to be ready for it. And I suggest you start now with the even though we're afraid mantra. And tomorrow I'll continue with the rest of the protocol. And that you take care of yourself, your energy system, that you take care of it. That means going to the beach, going to the parks, laying on the grass, leaning up against trees. You take care of yourself spiritually and emotionally. so that you are centered in whatever it is, because there is definitely something really big going on, that whatever that is, that your reaction to it does not position you poorly. Got it? You should not be thrown into survival mode, which I think is what a lot of people are going to feel. Oh my God, how do we survive this? Well, wait a second, nothing's happened yet to anybody. And even if it happens to 50 people, it didn't happen to you or close to you. You have to be able to be clear headed enough and centered enough that you can actually think and make sense even in the midst of chaos. I give a classes, whatever, and it's called Prosperity in the Midst of Chaos. And I started in 1999 because I knew that at some point society would reach a chaotic stage. I'm hoping that that's not going to happen, but it may. But all you have to do is stay focused and energize your intention to be prosperous even in the midst of chaos. And it can happen because the mind is what creates reality. So, what's my bottom line? And then let's do a mantra. Bottom line is we're already dealing with aliens. The devil comes from another planet, angels come from another planet. Half of the spirits guides that we have, they come from other planets. The dolphins that are my main people in terms of spirit guides come from, I think it's the Pleiades. Um, the Greeks said that they were gods. I'm telling you that they are gods. By the way, I have a book up on Amazon called The Gods Speak, Dolphin Wisdom Revealed, that has a lot of articles that they gave me through the years. Nothing on this subject. What I have on this subject will be up on my website, francisfox.com, starting tomorrow. The piece that I just read that the dolphins gave me, and then whatever they're going to give me tomorrow and the next day, and we'll set up the whole protocol and you can do it. And then you will be anchored and ready for whatever the outside world is going to present to you so that your world does not collapse. Because I don't think it's supposed to collapse. But if you think it's going to collapse, you make decisions that are very different. Small note, I have talked a little bit recently about people who are in survival mode and how it's very difficult if you're not in survival mode. And my example, the longest example that I gave was if I'm dealing with somebody who's an immigrant that really doesn't have any money, but I have great rapport with them and it's great sitting and talking with them. The fact that they're still in survival mode, having to be with being an immigrant and having to make sure that there's enough money for food on the table for the family here and enough money to send to the family back in their countries that really need it, it's very difficult to have a good relationship because being in survival mode is to, they look at every time dealt with shamans. They're in survival mode in the sense that their people don't have enough food. So even though the friendship can be wonderful and the exchanges can be wonderful, there is a huge limitation because of that. So here we go into this whole, whatever it is that we're going into, and there will be people that will be coming from a place of survival mode, and maybe that's not really necessary. But if they think not sure that they're going to survive or society's going to survive, what I'm telling you now is that all their intentions will be different. When you're in survival mode, your intention is not that you just be prosperous. Your intention is that you survive and there be enough food on the table, which is not prosperity. And that's what we cannot allow, that energy take over, because you're going to be in vitalizing your intentions in the middle of a sea of people that are scrambling because they're afraid they're not going to have enough to have food on the table because of these huge happenings outside of them and outside of their control. That is a potential for happening, and that is something that we need to avoid, and it's something that you need to avoid in your particular life so that you can keep a grip on your reality and continue to vitalize your intentions. You can't change your intentions. It doesn't matter what happens. Your basic intentions should not change. If prosperity is important to you, you need to continue to vitalize that prosperity, even if you have to scramble to find something because temporarily there appears to be a bit of a short circuit in whatever. You cannot substitute survival intentions for your main intentions. I hope you can hear me having to do with that. The next 2 weeks are going to be really interesting. So let's go ahead and do the main mantra for dealing with this issue of, is this an alien invasion? It's not an alien invasion. It's obviously they're doing like a parade around for everybody to see them. Um, so the main mantra is, even though we are afraid, and use we instead of I so that it can include more people and you become like this vacuum cleaner that are processing, it doesn't stay with you, other people's fears. Okay? So the mantra is, the Fox purification mantra is, even though we are afraid, I love and accept myself. Okay, I think no spelling errors. Oh, wow. Almost the first. Oh, no, I spelled myself wrong. Okay. Um, and I'm going to put the music that's for rooting, which is root chakra. In the original Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, it doesn't say deliver us from evil. It says help us to be in the present, rooted, grounded. Doesn't say deliver us from evil. If you have enough of the earth element, evil cannot invade you. And I believe that that's going to be the key, having to do with the issues with alien invasions. They don't seem to do so well on the physical dimension, which is the root, which is the earth element. So if you have enough of the earth element and everything is grounded and rooted, I suspect you're not going to have a problem. But I'm going to ask the dolphins about that. So we're going to do 10 minutes of this mantra with the rooting mantra music. The mantras are repeated in silence. You breathe in through your nose and you expel through your mouth, and you just relax. Just do it very relaxed. How are you feeling? Let me go ahead and put up the gold and white dress, which is a controversial dress from about 8 years ago. You can look it up on the internet, controversial gold and white dress. And depending upon the tones, the shine, the colors that you see, you'll be able to know how your frequency is. If you are full of fear, this particular dress, you will see blue and bronze. If you're not full of fear, you'll see it gold and white. And depending upon how light your frequency is, rather than heavy with traumas you haven't dealt with or lies that you're keeping or living, then it is more intense gold and shinier white. Sometimes you'll see places on the dress that's dark. Most of us can see like a dark lines at the bottom of the dress. And for a long time, I was seeing very dark underneath the right sleeve. Whereas before, I had not seen that. And that corresponds to some issues in my life. And my story with that dress, because I would really like for all of you to get a copy of the dress, which you can find easily on the internet, controversial gold and white dress, and print it up and put it on your bathroom mirror or on your refrigerator and show it to the kids. Most of the kids see it blue and black. That's a problem. Our children are not doing well. It's a very low frequency. But when I first saw that dress, let's say it was 8 years ago, I saw it white and gold. I don't remember whether it was brilliant white or whatever. And then several days later, I walked past my desk and the photograph was there and it was blue and black. And I went, what? Because I knew nobody had changed the photograph. It was my desk. Nobody was there. That was the same photograph that I had printed up. And so I stopped and I said, why would I see it different? And I had just had a rage attack, which I was prone to for many years because of my frustration having to be this government program. And I was shocked because basically what that's saying is that my rage and frustration does not allow me to see the gold in my life. I can have gold right in front of me and I won't see it because I'm carrying this load of hatred. But that's the case for you too. But this dress will tell you where you're at. If you're going to go for an interview, you need to look at that dress the day before and see where you're at because you want your frequency to be really high, vibrating high, so that in that interview, you have more of a chance of getting the gold. So print it up. It'll make for interesting conversations with your team, with your group at work or at home, but mainly it's a guide to what your frequency is, which means your vibration. And because the law of attraction is so important, if your frequency is high, you will attract high frequency situations, people, results, etc. And that dress can guide you to that. So, especially now with all this fear having to do with all these drones, whatever it is that they are, it might be an important time to start and to establish that as a practice, to have this particular tool to help guide you to make sure that let's say everything gets really bad. Well, not everything is created equal. Some people are going to do worse and some people better. You want to make sure that you're in the group that does better. And that dress can help to tell you, because you create your reality, how your vibe is, which will determine your level of creation, the quality of your creation. Okay, so I'm Frances Fox, trained government remote viewers, trained in interspecies communication. Here, so much happier than yesterday because of the dolphins' very simple explanation having to do with aliens. And how, if we look at our religions and the people that started it, we can maybe start to track the whole history of the planet, the whole history of the relationship between aliens and humans since the beginning of time. And again, glance at the book, The Gods of Eden. It's not an easy read, but it's basically the concept of that those that we have positioned as gods in our religions basically are just aliens with a lot of powers. And knowing that, it helps us to know where we're at and what we should be doing or not doing. Also, I hope it's a nice kick in the pants to human beings to start to access their third eye, which is where superpowers are. We've been frightened away from looking at this energy center where scientists say they found cells from eyes in the forehead. And they say, oh, that maybe in the past human beings had a third eye. So that is where the superpowers are that human beings are supposed to be accessing now. So maybe we should have more of a concerted effort to being open to superpowers and accessing them. Okay, so we'll see you again. Thank you for listening. And we put this out as a podcast on Apple and Spotify. Francis Fox, News from Other Dimensions. And thank you for joining me. I'm so much happier than yesterday.